And welcome to Lone Star Park at Grand Prairie. We've got a 12 race card coming up once again here as we wrap up this racing week. I'm Jim Byers along with Rodney Nelson, Railbird Rodney. Let's go over our picks tonight. Rodney, the back half of the card last night was tough to pick. Nobody hit the pick 6. Nobody hit the pick 5. We got carryovers in those wagers. Super high 5 carryover going into the first race tonight at $10,813. Let's get right into the card. The fact that it was tough to pick last night is something we foreshadowed here because I thought the races seemed very competitive.
Yeah, there was a lot. It seemed like a lot of them were wide open, and I mean the winners that won, you didn't have a lot of chalk coming in. So for the horse players that had the right ones, got paid a little bit on those picks, which is always pretty nice. But 12 more today, 11 quarter horse races, and an Arabian race for race number 3. Let's get right on into it.
First race matches maiden claimers 3 and up, and they are going a short 250 yards, and there is a scratch. The 12 Texas Bonita Sace, and you won't have to wait long to see her run because she is entered in the second race today as well. So nonetheless, I actually had her as my 4th pick in this race. Matches maiden claimers behind the top 3. They are going a short 2 and wide open yards, though we have a different horse in there than I have. I actually didn't use Repeat a Tool, and yet the form is.
Yeah, I mean, we still got an hour for this first race.
You can't get one. You have to turn.
That's my top choice. As well, Jim. I mean, this horse looks like the one to beat here. One of the reasons I like is, this horse has run this Tool and hit the yard distance 4 times. 3 of those times has come in second. So, can get up there towards the front. Dropping down is the $5,000 tag tonight, where she spent the last couple of races winning $10,000. I think this is a good spot for Lake Life. I think Lake Life has a good chance to win here. Second pick's going to be the number 11, Miss Luvia. This is a horse that has run out here at Lone Star Park 5 times. Doesn't have a win to show for, but a couple seconds, 3/3 to go with it. Had a pretty good workout back just a few weeks ago, the 27th of September. Ran 220 yards. Was 11 to 24 that day, so 220 to 250. Not very much more, so had a pretty decent workout there. I expect that she's in shape and be ready to go here in the first. And then I went to the number as my 3rd selection here. 3 races for this horse, all coming at the $5,000 level. Last 2 races, a couple thirds, just beaten by half a length in both of them. Most recently was beaten just by a neck by my top choice in the late season shape and be ready to go.
We're going to give you a quick weather update here in Grand Prairie
as my 3rd selection.
My top pick 3 races for this horse, all coming at the $5,000 level. Last 2 races right now, no chance of rain. Just beaten by half a length in Lake Life. Most recently bobbled early on. It doesn't indicate that it's PPs, but had a bobble in the stride early on, and then was never too far back, just kind of went evenly, did pass some tired ones, went from 6th to 4th. No big deal on that, but I think this drop will really help Lake Life, and obviously there's some early attention on her. TF Stunnin' and Runnin', who had a work here on September 29th. That does not appear in the program. It's probably in the form. I didn't have a chance to look at that before I came down. No big deal on that. But had a pretty good work, 11.77 breezing for 220 yards on the 29th. That's for the 2 TF Stunnin' and Runnin'. And that horse's Louisiana form, wasn't anything to write home about, but it might be good enough to compete here. And this is a 7-year-old, still a maiden. And then
he gets across the finish line first. Second choice will be your number 11 horse. 2 consecutive second-place finishes just by neck. One of them coming out here at Lone Star Park at this 330-yard distance. That was the opening night of our meet out here. So just a few weeks ago, Cue Ball had a good run there. And then my 3rd pick will be the number 5 and La Relera Dash. A second and 2/3 for this horse in 3 races. Has never run 330 yards. This horse is coming from Louisiana Downs. Was the last race. That was back in March, so this horse has had quite a few months off. But we'll see if the 5 can't get up there and finish in the try tonight.
Yeah, we have the same pick, same order, so not much to go on here. Not much for me to go on about, but I'll mention a couple of points. Sweetmaster Jess last time, the way I saw the race, and everybody sees races differently, potentially, and camera angles can play with your mind a little, but I never saw the horse get the lead at any stage. The PPs indicate that he had the lead and then gave it up. I had him second all the way around, about a half length back. That's just my opinion. I have charted races, though, so it's not like, it's not like I'm coming from a position of complete cluelessness, but nonetheless, I thought the horse made a pretty even bid last time rather than giving way. So the moral of this story / lecture, my apologies, is to watch replays. I would, these races only take 15 seconds to watch, and every track except Gillespie has their replays out there somewhere. And Sweetmaster Jess is an example of that. Cue Ball ran a really nice race here last time. That was the very first race of the meet on opening night, as you mentioned. DM Mary Deal just absolutely ran her eyeballs out. And then Laudre Lara Dash. The only thing I note about her is horses that ran at Louisiana Downs in the spring seem to have really high E-speed figures for whatever reason. But the last time I knocked or questioned an E-speed figure, the horse went straight to the winner's circle and did it emphatically. So take that for what it's worth. Third race, Arabians. Scratch the 3 AA Pocket Rocket. These are maiden claiming Arabians going 5.5 furlongs. And interesting, no Ernesto Torres. I don't know if we've ever run a maiden race in my 5 seasons here. And we didn't run a lot previously. Now we're running one a night just about, where we didn't have a Ernesto Torres horse.
Yeah, that's the first thing I look at when I see these Arabian races. But, he doesn't win them 100% of the time. He has a high percentage, but not 100% of the time. So without having one of his horses in here, not that big of a deal. But I did go with the number 4 in WMA Northwind. This horse has run a couple times at this distance, 2/3 at this 5.5 furlong distance. Has had a tryout here at Lone Star Park that came back on our opening weekend, finished 5th in that race. Take a look at the jockey that's on, Anardis Rodriguez. I think he was a winner of our Arabian race last night, if I'm not mistaken. So he can win some races on these Arabian horses.
Thoroughbred riders tend to do well in these Arabian races. Guys like Anardis Rodriguez, Rudy Guerra, Ernesto Valdez Jimenez, and there's one that rode yesterday that I'm blanking on. When they come in and ride these Arabians, take note.
Yeah. It's got to be a little bit different than, just holding on and going down the stretch and trying to
it's not all
finesse
sense
horses.
and
Yeah,
right. There's finesse involved.
Get some position if you can in these Arabians,
Exactly.
I imagine. Second choice is going to be your pair of entries right there, the 1 and the 1A. I'm getting 2 horses for the price of 1. Both of these horses are first-time starters facing a field of lifetime maidens. So, I'm going to take a shot. I'm getting, like I said, 2 for the price of 1 on these ones. I think that's not a bad way to go here in this race. And then my third pick, I'll go ahead and take the 8 and Flying J Gideon. This is a horse that has run out here twice already in this meet. In the opening weekend that this horse ran out here at the 6 furlong distance, ran a solid second. So, hey, this horse knows how to be up toward the front. Last time wasn't the best, finished 5th in that one. But, wasn't last. So, we can go ahead and give the horse that. So, I've got it 4, 1, and 8.
Not only wasn't last, but beat more than half the field.
Right.
And it shows you how spread out that field was. This horse was beaten a big, long way, 13.5 lengths. And yet there were still 6 horses behind him at the finish. But, I'm with WMA Northwind as well. I mean, this horse, the race behind RB Lara and Flying J Gideon on opening weekend was pretty good, had some start trouble. I think the shorter distance will help. Flying J Gideon actually finished in front of this horse back on opening weekend. But Flying J Gideon's race last week it didn't wow me, even though he did split the field. So I went 4, 8, 10. I put WMA Fireball first time on Lasix in there for third. getting back on Lasix, actually. Just was off Lasix last time. I didn't use the entry. It makes sense. You have the entry second. Rick Lee has the entry on top. The thing that worried me about the entry, I don't see any works, any published works longer than a half mile for either one of them, which is odd. I mean, just considering the distance of the race. On to the fourth. Interesting here, my notes for this maiden claimer were the 5 can't seem to break, and the 8, who is also going to be well backed, can't finish. So you got one that can't get out of there and one that can't finish. I mean, I went 5-8, so did you. We'll see, the immovable object is going to meet the unstoppable force, or whatever that slogan is.
And
I have to think that through.
We'll see which one happens between these two. We both got him picked 1-2. I got the 5, Faint Whisper on top. I mean, this horse ran in an All-American Futurity Trial last time. This debut of this horse was in a Rainbow Futurity Trial. So running in some big races, like you said, has trouble getting out of the gate, can't break the best. But, I'm going to go ahead and give Faint Whisper, the number 5, a shot here. Second choice, that's the number 8, Relentless Slay here. 4 races for this one. Most recently finished second. That was at Retama Park. Was up there toward the front. Got beat at the end. That was at 300 yards. Tried this 330-yard distance twice. Hadn't hit the board in either one of those starts. We'll see what happens with the 8. And then my third choice, I'm going to go with number 3 in Smoking Wagon. This horse was in last time for the $15,000 tag. Drops down here to $10,000 tonight. Had that one start at Ruidoso just a few weeks ago, back in the middle of August. Finished 5th in that race. Actually was placed 4th, but some good competition out there in New Mexico. Adding 30 yards on, maybe that's going to make a difference. We'll see if the drop in class helps as well. I think there's some angles to go on that you might want to put that number 3 Smoking Wagon in your ticket.
James J. Gonzalez II won a race on the card last night. There's a lot of really good barns in this race, a lot of barns that win a lot of races here. Faint Whisper in the Rainbow and All-American Trials was beaten a long way in the Rainbow Trial, was shut off at the start, but that was compounded by the fact that he didn't break very well, and then didn't break particularly well in the next race either, and was beaten 3 lengths in an All-American Trial, but gets back here. Kind of a tepid pick for me, but he's got to improve, you would think. Famous last words. And by the way, it's the immovable force, or the irresistible force meeting the immovable object is what I was trying to think of before. Relentlessly, I think needs a little bit shorter distance than 330, probably. A couple starts ago, broke pretty well, but faded. Needs to stay on a little bit better, but, improvement could definitely put her in front. Lethal Valina is my third pick. Adds blinkers for this. Comes from Canterbury. Has a shot. I like the breeder of this horse, JJ Cool L. Instead of LL Cool J, they went with JJ Cool L. And then the horse that I'm really intrigued about is the 10 Sin Bill. 2/3, Angel Sanchez has had an incredible meeting. Watch the tote action on Sin and Bill. Her form at Retama wasn't bad. It was against maiden claimers.
I mean, if you don't like a horse that can't break, you don't like the one that can't finish, it sets it up maybe for the 10. I mean, you might get a decent shot on it. I mean, 2/3 in a row for Sin and Bill.
Exactly.
I think there's some different ways that you can go in the 4th, no doubt about it.
No doubt. And there have been times that it has been okay, to say the least, to be outside in the draw. And maybe not 10 and out, but outside. Hasn't always. It's been fair. Horses have won from everywhere, but that's not that bad a draw for that horse either. 5th race, 870. I had a tough call between the 2 favorites on the morning line here. I see you went with the 1 as a second pick. That is intriguing because she has a tremendous amount of speed, but we are both on You Buy, I Fly, stretching out, but this is one time I break my rule about not liking stretch outs in 8-7.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that much experience at the 870-yard distance in this race. I mean, in the races we've seen earlier this year, we've seen horses that have run it 15, 30 times. This one, I think, 4 times is the most that are 6. The 5's tried it 6 times. But, I went with the number 2, You Buy, I Fly. Has never been this 870 yards, so we'll see if he can't handle the turn correctly. I mean, if you take a look back, this horse ran in some big races last year, or, was in the Rainbow Futurity, All-American Futurity trials for those races. Was in the Texas Classic trials out
all
here.
Grade 1s, all Grade 1 trials.
Yeah, so the horse has been running with some good company. There's no doubt about it. He ran up against Trump My Record in the trials for the Texas Classic last year. Big horses this horse has run up against. He's going to stretch out to this 870. We'll see if he can't get it done. I like the 2. My second choice is going to be your number 1 horse. This horse has tried the distance before 4 times. Has a 3rd to show for it. Most recently that had a 4th out at the Downs at Albuquerque at 870. Was in for the $15,000 tag in New Mexico. Ran a 4th in that one at Ruidoso. I don't know. I think this is a tough race right here, but I do have the 1 second. My third choice is going to be the number 3 horse, another one that's never tried this distance before, but has run 550, so, about as long as you can go without making that turn out here at Lone Star Park. Last race, this horse won that 550 race by 7.5. That seems like a huge margin in a race like that. So, I'm going to give a nod to the number 3 and see if this horse can't get up and hit the board for me.
When I initially analyzed this, I took a lot of time trying to decide between You Buy, I Fly or Regent Run. Neither has ever been 870. Both trainers do well with turn horses. You Buy, I Fly has definitely faced better competition over the balance of his career going straight, but Regent Run is a faster worker, has some really good works. And the dam of Regent Run is a thoroughbred that was trained by Brett Calhoun and went 1 for 4 with 3 seconds in a brief career. So I like that thoroughbred blood on these 870s, but I went with You Buy, I Fly. I just think he deserves the pick. I like the fact he's drawn inside of Regent Run, and like I said, that it's the first time that Cedillo has had this horse, has started this horse, and I don't know. I'm going to give him a nod because he's only been in Grade 1 trials. Here's a scenario, though. The 2 horses stretching out, the 2 and the 4, the 2 doesn't, let's just imagine, the 2 doesn't dig the turn, takes the 4 out, and that speedy 1 horse just does what that horse did in the distance challenge race yesterday and just takes the short way home. That could very well happen. But I went 2-4-1. And I have your first assailant 4th, just because obviously there's some long-windedness about him because they debuted him in a 550. On to the 6th. Scratch the 1, shake 'em, dash, maiden claimers.
I went with the number 8, Wiz. 2 starts for this horse, both of them at Delta Downs. I talk about it all the time. I like these horses from Delta coming down here. One more scratch.
I forgot the 7, Cap Mam Blue is also out, so sorry. Continue.
Wiz, 2 starts, both coming at Delta. Coming over here to Lone Star Park, I like that angle. Both those starts, seconds in both of them, a neck and a nose in both of those. The debut for Wiz came at this 330-yard distance, which was the nose that she got beat. I like this horse. I think Wiz can get up here and win this 6, no doubt. Second choice will be your number 6 in Zulu Moon. 3 starts for this one. All of them coming at Ruidoso Downs this year. Has never run this 330, but has a couple 350s. Most recently finished 3rd in a 350 race, was fractious in the gate, but still was able to get out and run 3rd. I think there's something to be said for that. And then my third choice is going to be your number 3 horse in Corona Popline. A 3rd last time out at Ruidoso Downs. Another one that's never been this 330-yard distance, but I think this horse is good enough to compete with the rest of them here.
I took Corona Pipeline on top. Definitely needs a shorter race today. Gets it. John Steinbow Stable has won a million races over the years, but they've been off to a really slow start here. They've got to turn that around at some point, and maybe it's tonight. So I took Corona Pipeline over Zulu Moon, who did have a September 29th work here. It was a very slow work. It was 19th out of 19 on the morning, but, she did work 2:20 in 13.88 seconds. The Michael Joyner Stable won a race last night. It had been off to a cool start for a really top barn as well. Wiz, I like as well. Wiz worked yesterday. I grabbed my phone while you were talking because my notes were, where are the works for the Wiz? Because she hasn't raced since July 24th. Well, she worked yesterday, which obviously isn't going to get in any sort of a publication. October 3rd, 2:20, breezing in 12.26 seconds. It was second best out of 17 works.
I wish quick.
Horses wouldn't work the day before the race. We had 2 of those yesterday. It's really not, it's not ideal. I'll just say that. But I guess that's within the rules. But I went 3, 6, 8. Now, for the 7th race, we're going to do a piece of video. Scratch the 9, So Long, Mr. Charlie. And I'm going to have to fiddle with the machine here, so I false started. Why don't you go through your picks real quick?
All right, I think we're both going to be on the same one. That's OSC Boys, the number 7 horse. This horse has run a couple races out here at Lone Star Park. Was out here on the 12th of September. Was well beaten in that one, ran 7th in that race. But, this horse was out here in the trials last year for the Dash for Cash. Was beaten by FM Dynasty Rock was the one that won that one. Domino CD came in second. You saw some of those horses running in the big race. This horse has had some next out winners in these races that he's been in. I think if you can just count out that last race where the horse ran 7th, I mean, the horse has a real good record other than that. Has a win, 3 seconds and 3/3 for OSC Boys lifetime. I think this is a solid horse and one to watch here. HB Birdman, the number 2, will be my second choice. Jim, I think you got that video ready to go, right?
I had it and I lost it.
It's all right. We're still working.
Go ahead and do the rest of your picks while I figure this
out.
All right, I'm sorry.
Number 2, HB Birdman is going to be my second selection here. It's a horse that finished 4th last time out, but it was just by a neck. That came out here opening weekend at Lone Star Park. Has tried this 330-yard distance twice. Nothing to show for it. Pretty much the same thing for the 3 starts out here. Hasn't hit the board, but like I said, did have that 4th last time out. Just missed by a neck, so that was a real close race. Granted, that was at 250 yards, so a little bit of more distance on tonight. Angel Sanchez, the trainer, you got to take a look at the horses that he's got out here. He's been on a roll. And then my third pick is going to be your number 12 in Champagne Rose B. We had a number 12 horse win the nightcap last night. I think this horse could get up in time. Last time out, finished 1st by a head. That was at Retama Park. Had a 3rd before that. A string of consecutive seconds. Those all happened at the end of 2019. A couple of them out here on our track. So I think Champagne Rose B likes it out here at Lone Star Park. And you know what? This horse might fire tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I have her as a 4th pick. Definitely likes the track. That is meaningful. I went 7-2-6. It wasn't an easy call for me, but OSC Boys definitely had a brutal trip last time, which we'll see in a moment, and my apologies for deking everyone on when this video was ready. HB Birdman did not have a good draw opening weekend, was drawn outside when it was much better to be drawn middle in on opening weekend. Still ran a really nice race, but let's go ahead now and for real try to watch this video here. OSC Boys, brutal trip last time. The chances that he's going to get this brutal a trip seems unlikely. Watch the horse number 6 in the highlighted area here. Gets bumped pretty hard at the start, and then we'll continue to have a rough go. Big bump there about halfway through, and now he's just in behind, eating all kinds of dirt in the black silks there, and has absolutely no chance after the first 100 yards or so of that trip. So sometimes those situations can get repeated. Hopefully it won't in this case. But you got to think he's going to get a better trip today. And that race begins the 6-shooter. The carryover, $11,803. The 8th race begins the pick 5. $1,097 in that carryover, Texas bred maidens.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one right here. I got the number 2 and Mr. Blue Sky is my top choice. 3 races for this gelding, 2/3 and a 2nd, all coming at Ruidoso Downs. The second place finish, the best one that this horse has had, came at this 400-yard distance. I do like number 2, Mr. Blue Sky. Second choice will be your 6, and he's tempting 2 starts for this colt. Had a second last time out. That came out here at Lone Star Park on the 13th of September. That was at this 400-yard distance. So 1 start at the distance out here on our track. Ran second in that. Third pick will be the number 7. He's Secret Glory. This is a horse that ran in the Gillespie Futurity last time out. Finished 6th in that one. But that a lot better than that 6th place shows. I mean, it was only 3/4 behind the winner of that one. Had a decent trial race to get into that Futurity. So I think that number 7, he's Secret Glory, could run decent here tonight in the 8th.
Yeah, this is a good spot for him. This is a really nice race. I went similarly. I went 2, 6, 9, 7. Mr. Blue Sky, a lot to like about him. He's tempting, obviously, has, at least last time out ran a nice race. And horses that have run over this track and run halfway decently have tended to come back and run well this meet. I took Flash Riley 3rd. Now, on to the 9th. Scratch the 7. This is a pivotal scratch. The 5-star Cartel. Starter allowance at 300 yards.
Yeah, I'm going with the horse that's on the outside. That's your number 10. I'm Just Dancing. This horse comes out of the TQHA Futurity last time out. I'm always picking horses that are either running in that one or one of the other races down there at San Antonio. Before that, the 3 races for this horse before getting into that big one right there, a 2nd, a 1st, and a 3rd. So this horse has been rocking and rolling in 2020, knows where the finish line is, knows how to get some finishes up there close to the front. One of the top trainers out here so far this year. So I think that number 10, I'm Just Dashing, takes the 9th. Second choice will be your number 3 horse, Unbridled Cause. 2 starts for this one. Was claimed last time out. Goes to the new barn here, but I think that'll be something pretty good. Last time out in that race, won it by half a length. That was at 330 yards, so dropping a little bit of distance off tonight. I think the horse got out, let it gate the wire last time, so a horse can get out of that gate and fire. I think Unbridled Cause has a good shot. And then I went with the number 2 in Lone Star. I like that name. That's where we're at tonight, right? Was a winner last time out by a length. Had a good finish in that one. That was at this 300-yard distance just a few weeks ago at Retama Park toward the end of August. I think that Lone Star hits the board here.
Yeah, you've got Lone Star and Unbridled Cause or Kaz coming out of really nice maiden wins. This is a really good race too, but I went with I'm Just Dashing. I think has the best overall body of work. We're pretty similar here. I went 10, 3, 4, 2, but yeah, good race. Let's move on. 10th race, 250 is the distance. Claimers, $5,000 the price tag.
I'm on number 1, Flashy Runaway. Looking to get back-to-back wins. Had a win last time at the $5,000 level. That was against non-winners of 2, of course. Trained by Alonzo Neary. He's always sending out some good ones. Second choice would be your number 2 horse in La Calita. This is a horse that ran 2nd last time, a 3rd before that. And if you take a look all the way back down to November of last year, this horse has been beaten no more than 3/4 of a length in any of those races. I think number 2 is definitely one to watch. And then I went with the number 7 in Brontide. This horse has had some time off. Hasn't run since March. Has run 3 times in 2020, all those coming at Louisiana Downs. Has tried this 250-yard distance 3 times, has a 2nd to show for it. In those 3 races this year, a 1st and 2 seconds. Just missing by a nose in one of them, 3/4 in the last one. I think Brontide might be one to take a look at as well.
Oh, I definitely agree. I took him 2nd. I agonized whether to take him on top. He has shown an ability to fire fresh off layoffs before. He's definitely quick enough to win at 250. If he takes early money, I'm probably on the wrong end of this. I took the mare La Clatita. Has really good speed. When they start to go 250 or even 220, which I don't think we've run a 220 race this meet, I just look for the first call out of there. I'm just looking at horses that break fast. You can't afford to risk one that's going to try to rally in a 250 race. La Clatita certainly fits that bill. So I went 271. It's going to come down ultimately to who gets out of there well, I think, in that one. Let's move on. 11th race, we've got 2 scratches. The 2, My Famous Troubadour, and the 8 Juanel's Fireball, 550, a long straightaway here in the 11th.
Yeah, and believe it or not, those 2 scratches were going to be my top 2 picks here
Really?
in this one. So we had to kind of change things up. I ended up on the 9, Dashing Tyrant. This horse last time out ran to 550 yards, won it by 7.5 lengths. Looked to be the best in that race by far. I mean, that's a big margin of victory there. So I do have the 9 on top. My second choice is going to be your number 7 horse in Just Paint Me Quick. This horse was in a stakes race last time out, was beaten by a length and 3/4 in that one. Had a second allowance before that, a win before that. Just Paint Me Quick, I think, could be quick enough to get up there. I mean, 3 starts at this distance, has a win and a second. And then my third pick is going to be your number 5 horse, Steve's Classy Jess. I took a look at the distance on this one too. One start at this 550-yard distance was a win. That came 2 races back on the 27th of August at Retama. Won it by a nose. That was at the 10,000 non-winners of 3 level. That was at the $15,000 level. Is in tonight for the $10,000 tag. So we'll see what number 5, Steve's Classy Jess, can get done tonight.
Yeah, it's good to look at horses that have done well at this distance. It's a little like 7 furlongs in thoroughbred. Some horses really relish it, and some just absolutely can't function at it, as it's a long sprint, but it's not for really long-winded individuals that like 2 turns. 550, the longest straightaway we can run. I went with Just Paint Me Quick. Good races at Retama this summer. Definitely can handle the distance. It's going to be kind of a chalky pick. My second choice is the 1, 5 Bar Silver. Breaking my rule, I tend not to like first-time 550 horses, but I'll make an exception if they've shown some propensity at 440 at least. And then my third pick is the 9, Dashing Tyrant. I'm just curious if that maiden win is legit. If it's legit, he might just whistle again, but he might have also not have beaten anything in that race. We'll see. All right, on to the 12th. Our second and other super high 5 race of the night. Allowance 3 and up, 350 the distance.
All right, Cherokee Senator, the number 3, is going to be my top selection here. This horse hasn't been beaten by more than a neck in the last 3 races, all of them coming this calendar year. Ran third in a challenge race out at Ruidoso Downs last time just by a neck. I think there's a lot to like about Cherokee Senator here. This horse has run into some tough ones. Some next out winners. I mean, beat Silk and Stilettos 2 starts back. We saw Silk and Stilettos got a bad trip last night.
In the running for the worst trip of the meet.
And I think she was probably the overwhelming favorite in that race. With a better trip, she could have won it. So, I mean, Cherokee Senator did beat that one. Second choice is going to be the number 1, 3 Blue Coronas. Looking to pick up 3 wins in a row. It's had back-to-back wins. Most recently had a 350-yard win at the Gillespie County Fairgrounds. Won it by a length and a half. Has tried this distance 7 times. Has 4 wins to show for it, so has won more than half of those races. And then my third selection will be your number 8, Eagle Acting Up V. It's another one that was a winner last time out. Won by 2.5 at the 330-yard distance. That's a pretty good margin of victory right there. And, I think this 350 is going to be no problem for number 8, Eagle Acting Up V.
Yeah, I took Cherokee Senator. 3 good races this year. That's enough for me. Her dam, Isa Little Cuervo, also produced Lano Cartel, who about a decade ago was incredible. Trace of Hero, the 2, for some reason on his 4th trainer already. He's only started 14 times, but, he's had a halfway decent body of work. And then 3 Blue Coronas. And here's an E-speed figure I don't really buy. Did he really run a 104? I mean, is that legitimate at Gillespie last time? Who knows? It might be, but it didn't move me past picking him 3rd. So I'm going 3-2-1. All right, we're out of time. Thanks so much for looking in. Good luck tonight, and good luck in all of your wagers. From Rodney, I'm Jim, and enjoy your evening.